Hi, I'm Jenny from Jenny Wren's Nest, and today I'm going to be teaching you the German short row method. So the first thing you're going to notice in your pattern is that it's going to ask you to knit or purl a certain number of stitches and then turn your work. So that's what we're going to do first. For me, I'm going to knit 4, and then I'm going to turn my work as if you're at the beginning of your next row. So you've now got your purl side showing. I'm going to slip my first stitch and then take the yarn and pull the stitch round really tightly so that you've got the two backs of your stitch showing. And then you're going to bring the yarn to the front of your needle and you're going to purl the remaining 3 stitches. So that's your turn, and now I'm going to show you how to work through the turned stitch. So we're going to knit the first 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to come to your twisted over stitch. So you've now got these 2 legs. Don't make the mistake of knitting into the first one as if it's a stitch. This is all one stitch, so put your needle through both legs and knit that as a stitch. So I'll show you that again. I'm just going to knit on 2 more stitches. So you've knit to the turn point, you're going to turn your work over, you're going to slip the first stitch and pull your yarn tight onto the front of your needle. Then you're going to purl your remaining stitches. And then when you come to knit over the stitch that you've twisted over, you're going to knit into both legs instead of just one. So here we are again, we've got our twisted over stitch. I'm going to put my needle through both legs, yarn around as normal and knit it as normal. So I'll show you that one more time on the knit side. Knit on another 2. So I'm at my turn point, I turn my work, I'm going to slip the first stitch, pull the yarn over tightly to the front, and then purl to the end of my row. And what you're probably noticing, or what you should be noticing, is that I've now knit more stitches here than I have here. I haven't touched these stitches, so there's a lot more rows going on over here than there are over here. So when I turn my work, you can see we've got this nice wedge of fabric. You'll see this used a lot for shaping necklines, sometimes shaping socks, the heel turn. It's a really, really useful method. So we're going to knit all the way back to that stitch through both legs, knit it again, and then carry on. Okay, so this is how we're going to do the purl. We're going to purl 4 stitches this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to turn our work. So we're going to slip the first stitch purlwise. We're going to pull the stitch over so that the yarn falls back at the back of the needle and knit to the end. Then we're going to turn our work again, and you're going to purl those first 3 stitches as normal. And then when you get to the stitch on your turn, you are going to it's a bit more fiddly this way around. You're going to put your needle through the twisted stitch, so both legs again, and purl as if it's a normal stitch. And then we'll carry on, purl another 2, and I'll show you again. So we've purled to our turning point, we turn, we slip our stitch as if we're purling it, then we're going to bring our yarn around the front to the back of your right needle, knit those stitches, and then turn the work again. and you're going to purl to that turned stitch. So this time it'll be 5 stitches and then your turning stitch. So here we are. So this is our turning stitch through both legs, purl it as if it's a normal stitch, and then I'm going to do it one more time for you. So we're just going to purl 2 more. We're going to turn our work. We're going to slip as if we're knitting, as if we're purling, sorry. Pull the yarn to the front and all the way through to the back again, and then knit to the end of the row. So I'll show you how to work through that again. So now we should have 7 stitches before we get to our turning stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's our turning stitch, which we are going to get our needle to go through. Purl it without splitting the yarn, preferably. There we go. And then you're just gonna purl to the end this time. So let's have a look. So these stitches in the middle, where we've only worked the original rows, that is how long your original piece of fabric was to start with. We never worked any of these, but we have worked these stitches and these stitches. So this is where your original piece of fabric was. This little triangle here, so along here and across here, this is where your new rows have been created by the German short rows. And it creates this lovely, nice curved line, depending on where you place your rows. It can be a curve, it can be a wedge. They're super useful for loads of different things.